and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working with the Dreaming Big layouts that we did last week, and this week I'm going to show you how to stitch on the pages. If you remember last week, I was all excited about, we were putting the pages together, and I had a creative inspiration midway through and I really wanted to show you how to stitch, but I stopped myself and I said no, we're going to keep on track, keep on what the original plan was, and then I would come back in with a second video and show you how to stitch. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Please forgive me if I sound like a frog. I'm still battling allergies. And if you hear me squeak ouch or anything, I also sustained a bit of a back injury last week. And I'm sitting on the bar stool. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay on the bar stool, but we'll see. And if you notice the pink mat, sorry, having a little trouble breathing because of the allergies. If you notice the pink mat, I was doing a little bit of quality control on my past videos and noticed that the written instructions that I was putting on the videos, when I put them in, I used white font. But for some reason during the editing process and during the rendering process, Camtasia switched it to black. And I spent quite a few days trying to get it switched back over. It would not switch back over. No matter what I did, what my husband did, or what my daughter did, and they both have been using Camtasia years longer than I have, they couldn't get it to fix either. So I just said, heck with it, I'll buy a different mat. So I have a pink mat, so hopefully whether it changes it to black font or whether I'm using white font, you'll be able to see the instructions on the video clearly. And I apologize for the past videos. I was trying to make it where you could see it, but the technology got the best of me. So, drinking a little bit more in this video so that I don't get frog throat. So what you will be needing in order to stitch on your pages is a stitching template. Oops, it's upside down. So this is one that, I'll get it straight in a second. This is one that Close to My Heart sells, and basically a stitching template is some sort of template with holes in it. So we've got this one that Close to My Heart sells, and we've got this one that Close to My Heart sells. And this is the one that I use most often. And if you see, it has the holes that are a little bit closer together and then holes that are spaced apart a little farther. It's this top row that I use the most of. And what I do, and I've already poked the holes on this one just to save a little bit of time, but you'll need some sort of cork surface or some sort of surface that a push pin can go into. And I'm going to scoot this up so you can see a little bit. But you're going to line up your holes. And what I do is I put a push pin on this end and I put a push pin on this end. And then I don't know if you can see me because I can't see the camera. So we're going to put a push pin here. Forgive me if my head gets in the camera. I'm trying for it not to. Push pin here, like so. And then you're going to take another push pin because for this template, our pokey stick, the one that we sell, is still too big. It's a little bit too big for the holes, and it will not make a hole through and through the paper. I have found that a plain push pin will go straight in the paper. It's a little hard on the fingers, but it will work. So basically what you do is push pin, push pin to hold the ruler or the template still so that you don't get halfway through and something moves and your holes aren't lined up. And then you can take the push pins out. Let me put these away before we end up sitting on them, because that wouldn't be a good thing. And then you can remove this, and as you see, here's your holes. I use regular DMC, where's the logo? There it is. The regular DMC embroidery thread that you find at any craft store. It comes 6 strands. I pull it apart by half. I only use 3 strands. And what I do is I sit here, if I'm watching a movie or whatnot, I'll go through and pull a bunch of these apart, and I store them in a little jar of the ones that I use the most of. Black is one of my favorites. And then I just twirl it up, and then when I'm stitching I don't have to stop every time. So we'll use that one in a minute. Set these aside so I don't get them in my way. The next thing you'll need is a threader. You get these at any sewing, with any sewing kit or whatnot. They're rather delicate, so just be very, very careful. And then another useful tool is the little tomato, and that's just so you have something to stick your needle in, because you really do not want to drop your needle on the carpet. Next thing you know, you get the needle in your foot. So, and I'm going to try to keep this in camera for you. So I have one needle already threaded up. I use the longest needle I can get my hands on, just purely for comfort. It's a little bit easier to grab. And you're going to start in the back. Pull it through till it's almost through. You just tack it down with some tape. The tape's not going to be seen. Nobody's going to know it's on there. My best friend laughs at me because she will, move that out of the way, she will tie hers off embroidery style and just go into the hole. Okay, and then we're going to cut it back over. That one. Pull it through. She ties hers off embroidery style, but I don't like the bumpiness on my page. Pull it through. Go inside this way. This is the most basic stitch. I use this particular stitch on every template that I use. It's just a simple back stitch. And I will normally, if I'm stitching on paper, I normally have a movie going or a good book on my audio, and I just sit here and stitch to my little heart's content. I wait until the DMC thread at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's or any of the craft stores is on sale. Just move that. Oh, okay. And I pick up whatever colors I need. I've got every color to match the paper. I just normally, when we get a new catalog, I will take some paper samples into the store with me. I will pop a squat on the floor, and I will just start matching the thread until I find the one that matches the paper. Because I stitch so much. It is a cheap way to add dimension. Not only does it add dimension, it adds character, and it's not also another way to hold. Okay, sorry for the break there. My battery died right in the middle of speaking. I don't remember what I was saying. I think I was saying that I stitch so much that I sit down and I match up the papers with the threads, and I have a DMC thread for every cardstock color that we have, but I don't pay full price for them. I wait till they're on sale and I pick them up for 10 cents a skein. So for this 10-cent skein, I can do several pages and add dimension and add character and add depth depending on what I'm doing. My Alaska album, I did twilight paper and twilight thread as swirls, so it was a tone on tone, but it just added something extra, and it turned out very elegant. I was so shocked at how pretty it turned out, and for less than 10 cents, because it didn't even take a full skein of yarn. Oh, I know what I was saying. It holds, it also holds down multiple layers of paper without having to use tons and tons and tons of adhesive. Okay, so when you get to the end of your row, I'm going to fix this so you can see it. Okay, I didn't bring my other scissors over here. Do not use your paper scissors. Do not do what I'm about to do. Have a separate pair of scissors. I forgot to get my other pair out. But this will dull your scissors. But it would take me too long right now to get off the bar stool. And I am suddenly comfortable and pain-free, so I'm not going to get off the bar stool to go get my other pair of scissors. Alright, I'm going to show you how to thread real quickly. Put this in the trash can. Okay. So this is a long piece of thread. And if you notice, I'm going to see if I can get this up there so you can see it. It is 3 strands of thread only. The original skein has 6 skeins, so you're going to separate the original skein. Okay? Threader goes in the eye, like so. Sorry, I had thread in my mouth, because you have to make it to where there's no little scraggly edges. Goes through the threader, hold it with your fingers, and then let go and pull it through the eye. If you have a needle that the eye is too small for the thread, it will pull this apart and you will break your threader. So that's the other thing you have to be careful of, is making sure the eye of your needle is not bigger than your thread or smaller than your thread. And then just match up your edges, and that is it. We can keep going. So, okay, I'm gonna have to climb under there because I just lost one of my threads. Oh well, I'll get it later. So I'm gonna pull this up in that hole, turn it over, and remember I have a bunch of thread, so I'm gonna pull for a while. I'm gonna just even this up some. And I'm going to tape it down. You want to be gentle when pulling your stitches through, because it is paper and it will tear. This is not like cloth embroidery that you can just pull straight through with no care to how hard you're pulling. This is still paper. Like if I was doing just one sheet, I would be pulling very, very gently. But this is actually 3 sheets. It's the black, the B&T, and then a B&T. So you're actually pulling through 3 sheets, which gives me a little more stability, but not much. You want it to be firm, but not hard. Does that make sense? So I'm just doing the same stitch. I'm just not flipping it over because I don't want to make you guys dizzy. If your thread knots on the back, sometimes it likes to tie itself in knots, just cut the knot out, tape your 2 edges down, and keep going. I don't fight knots anymore. I just cut them out, tape down the edges, and start again. I used to sit here for hours trying to get the knot out. And sometimes you'll have an entire skein of thread that just doesn't do right every time you work with it. It knots. If I constantly have knots, I just throw that whole thing of thread away. I just don't even deal with it anymore. It's either going to be silky or it's not. And sometimes you just get a bad skein. And you'll know, the more you work with it, you'll know within the first 1 or 2 knots this is not going to work. And you can just take it out and try a new set of thread. I normally also do not stitch with the embellishments on, but if you remember last time, I was in the middle of putting embellishments on when I had my little brainstorm. So I decided to show you how to stitch around the embellishments. But I normally would do my stitching first and then put the embellishments around. Okay, hopefully that works, because my camera keeps trying to not behave, and it has a full battery. Okay, I'm going to hurry up and show you the end result because my batteries keep trying to die, and they were both fully charged a few minutes ago, so I'm having an issue. So I want to show you really quickly just the difference that a little bit of stitching will make. This is the Dreaming Big layouts that we worked on last week with just a little bit of stitching. So page 1, page 2. There's that little bit that I just finished up for you. Got some stitching through here just to add just a wee bit of texture. It does not take much. A little bit here. And then just a little bit here. And a little bit there. It doesn't take much, it doesn't take long, but it just adds a little bit of wow factor. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I will be doing other stitching templates with other layouts as we go. Sometimes I even do it on cards. I personally, I love stitching on paper. It just adds so much for just a little bit of money. Not much money at all. We're talking 10 cents maybe per 2 or 3 pages of layouts. So very, very inexpensive, but adds a bunch of wow and a bigger bang for your buck, and something that not everybody can do on their paper because not everybody knows how to sew on paper. So you can take it to your friends and you can go, hey, look what I just learned. So I hope you love it as much as I do. Until next time, I will see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.